I wish you good health, dear Ukrainians. The main points for today. Military matters. We discussed in great detail with the military command the use of our long-range weapons, the use of our missiles, the use of our drones, certain issues related to production, supply to the army, and the training of our crews. The task now is to be much more active in everything related to the preparation and implementation of long-range sanctions against Russia. The more effective Ukraine is in long-range capabilities, the sooner we will be able to achieve peace. Ukrainian long-range weaponry is becoming noticeably more advanced. We are constantly working on this and have already provided many different opportunities specifically for production, the necessary finances, all the required support. We also need to significantly scale up their use. We have clear plans regarding this. Everything must be implemented in the coming months. Ukrainian precision, as is already evident, should become even greater. It is absolutely just that Ukraine delivers retaliatory strikes, targeted strikes. And unlike Russia, we know what we want to achieve. Undoubtedly peace. We are not waging war for the sake of war, as Russia does. And even Hamas is now showing a willingness to negotiate. But not Putin, not yet. Together with our partners, we are creating the conditions to force Russia to make peace. And it will happen. We support all global diplomatic efforts for peace in the Middle East. And we very much hope that just fair pressure on Russia will lead to peace, both for Ukraine and for our entire region. It is important that the leadership of the United States of America continues to work. Today, I held a meeting with the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine and the diplomatic team of the office regarding our draft resolutions, our documents in international organizations that need to be adopted before the end of this year. I instructed to involve partners as much as possible, especially leading partners, so that there continues to be global support for our initiatives. This concerns, in particular, such very sensitive issues as the return of Ukrainian prisoners of war, all those who are being held in Russia. And we know about people who have been in captivity since 2014. This also concerns children abducted by Russia. Time is passing too quickly, and not just every year, but every month matters for every child who is separated from their family and loved ones, their environment, from Ukraine. We know a lot about the absolutely totalitarian re-education programs for children in Russia designed to make them ready to fight, and even against their true homeland, against their real home. Thousands of such Ukrainian children are on the occupied territories and in Russia. I thank everyone who is working with us to bring them home. These are different countries from Canada to Qatar that are helping us. Our coalition for the return of our Ukrainian children already includes more than 40 countries, plus the European Union, plus the Council of Europe. And it is important that there are results from our joint work. I have also scheduled a meeting for tomorrow regarding the audit of all our agreements with partners for this year. What has been achieved, what has been implemented, and what still needs to be implemented. In recent years, Ukrainian foreign policy has been much more active than ever before. And it is necessary that every one of our meetings, every one of our agreements delivers real results for Ukraine, so that everything we have agreed upon with leaders is actually implemented at the level of our teams. Based on the results of such a foreign policy audit, there will be corresponding conclusions and instructions for the next 3 months. Weapons for Ukraine, finances, support for the energy sector, all forms of pressure on Russia, and the negotiation track. These are the key directions. The government, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Ministry of Defense, the Office, the National Security and Defense Council. I expect a report from each institution. Today, I also held a meeting with the Prime Minister of Ukraine, the Minister of Energy, and the head of Naftogaz regarding the main issues of our preparations for winter, as well as, of course, the restoration in the regions after Russian strikes. In fact, every morning, there are new tasks for our energy workers and repair crews. Russian strikes do not stop. It is precisely civilian infrastructure, energy infrastructure, that are the main targets for the Russians. We will resist, we are resisting, and it is important that our partners are ready to help us. We have determined whom to contact and what exactly needs to be achieved in the coming weeks. Internal work at the community level, at the regional level, will also have to be carried out by everyone. Otherwise, there will be consequences for the leaders. Glory to Ukraine.
Deferral from mobilization for those liable for military service, even those who are wanted, but there is a catch. The Verkhovna Rada has allowed defense industry enterprises to grant a 45-day deferral from mobilization to people who have issues with their military registration, such as missing or improperly issued military documents, or if a citizen is not registered or even wanted by the authorities. Such employees are given a legal grace period of 45 days to resolve all discrepancies in their paperwork. As soon as the registration issues are resolved, the deferral will be extended, or it will be cancelled if the deficiencies are not addressed. By providing this preliminary deferral, the state is solving several problems at once. In particular, more highly qualified workers will remain at enterprises, and men who previously had paperwork issues will come out of the shadows and work legally, explained Member of Parliament Halina Yanchenko.
We are essentially providing this 45-day window to undergo the Military Medical Commission, to register in the reserve, and then, with all the proper documents, have the opportunity to get a job and receive a deferral at defense plants.
What advantages and disadvantages do you see in this update to the rules? Be sure to write what you think in the comments to this episode on YouTube. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. The TSN episode continues, and there are still important topics ahead. A new branch of the military will appear in the armed forces of Ukraine, cyber forces. The bill to create it has been passed in the first reading. The main task of the newly established cyber forces is to conduct intelligence and special operations in the enemy's cyberspace. Specialists will be recruited into the cyber forces without mobilization. They won't be running around with rifles or sitting in trenches, but will even be able to work from home, says Oleksandr Fedienko, a member of the Parliamentary Committee on National Security. More than 40 countries in the world, including NATO members, already have their own cyber forces. Ukrainian units will cooperate with NATO countries to counter common threats in cyberspace.
Cyber defense and cyber forces are two completely different things. Cyber forces, I want to emphasize once again, are primarily troops that conduct reconnaissance and, if necessary, attack in cyber domains. This draft law, first and foremost, establishes the appropriate military hierarchy. I want to remind you, it finally systematizes various institutions.
Shooting down Russian drones over Europe. The European Parliament adopted a resolution calling on EU member states to respond more decisively to Russian provocations in the air, up to and including shooting down drones and aircraft that violate EU airspace. Nearly 500 deputies supported the document. It addresses the dangerous and escalatory actions of Moscow, which threaten the security of the continent. MEPs noted that Russian drones have repeatedly been detected near the borders of Poland, the Baltic states, and Romania, as well as near energy and transport infrastructure in Denmark, Sweden, and Norway. The European Parliament supported the creation of an EU drone wall. Ukraine's experience in combating drones is valuable for Europe. This is also mentioned by members of national parliaments, such as those from the United for Ukraine group, which includes delegates from 6 countries, including Lithuania, Estonia, Poland, Finland, and Sweden. They state that Ukraine's victory should become the strategy for all of Europe, and that Ukraine's membership in the EU and NATO will only strengthen European security.
But we know that if Ukraine truly becomes a full NATO member, the alliance can effectively avoid a devastating Russian attack, and the European Union will undoubtedly become much stronger, working together with powerful new defense tools, comprehensive security instruments, advanced drone walls, and various other crucial projects. We are learning from Ukraine's experience. This is a huge asset for us. These drones can be launched from ships of the Russian Shadow Fleet. They can be launched from neighboring villages by Russian agents or those working for Russia who would want to disrupt the operations of critical infrastructure at airports such as Munich Airport, for example. This exposes that we are absolutely unprepared to create a multi-layered air defense system in today's realities. Meanwhile, we also clearly see how Ukraine courageously survives daily under truly massive and relentless attacks that occur weekly, if not virtually every single day. Therefore, we urgently need to take decisive action immediately and significantly invest in our robust defense capabilities.